Slander is stripping someone of their reputation by attributing sins or defects they don't have, or faults they haven't committed. Defamation is stripping someone of their reputation by speaking ill of them in their absence, saying things that the listeners don't know and don't need to be said, even if they're true. Pope Francis reminds us, speaking ill of another is killing, because the root is the same. You don't have the courage to kill them or think it's too much, but you kill them in another way, with gossip, slander, defamation.
Slander kills, always. This diabolical cancer that is slander arises from the will to destroy a person's reputation. It also attacks the rest of the ecclesial body and seriously damages it, when for selfish interests or to cover one's own incapacity, one tries to harm another person. Defamation is even more subtle, because every person has the right to their reputation. And if you slipped up or did something wrong 20 years ago, and you repented, you've already paid the price. You've paid the penalty, you're a free person without burdens. Defamation is bringing a stain from the past and throwing it on now, right? Time and time again, we see scandal in people who go to church. They're all in the church, they attend all the meetings. And then, they live hating others, speaking ill of people. This is scandalous. If you want to speak ill, live like an atheist. But if you go to church, live as a child, live as a brother.
A person who lived in the northern border city with the United States, Mexico, who connected with the labor of Hermosillo, Sonora, and wanted to whistle. He had been a numerary in the 60s, 70s, and they wanted to whistle again in the 90s. And then, the local council of downtown Hermosillo consults with the directors of the delegation in Guadalajara or the commission to see if they could let him whistle. The representative from San Miguel goes to see the file and says no, that there were reasons. There were reasons of purity. There's always a file for you. Even if 1,000 years pass, your file will be there. Don't worry, they'll have something to say. Ten years later, someone asked the representative from San Miguel at that time, Armando Lomlin, now deceased, why they pushed Guillermo Trevio out. That's me. And this is impressive. The representative from San Miguel responds to this person, how? Don't you know? As if indicating that it's a public thing, notoriously known, that Guillermo Trevio was sleeping with other men. And then this person, to whom Armando Lomlin said it, tells me, so I find out that way. This is 10 years after they expelled me without knowing the reason.
In the first narrative, it shows how defamation occurs. As the Pope previously explained, an error, defect, or sin from past life is brought in, and the current reputation is damaged with it. This is a grave sin according to Catholic doctrine. In the second narrative, an example of slander is illustrated in which the person is unaware that a lie is being spread about them behind their back. Actually, it takes 10 years to find out what was said and the consequences of that slander. This is also a grave sin according to Catholic doctrine. You have just seen the images of an anecdote in which a woman confesses to having murmured, and as penance, Saint Philip Neri asks her to pluck a chicken and spread the feathers everywhere. The next day, Saint Philip tells her it's not yet complete, she must gather all the scattered feathers. Impossible? Possibly. Cleaning up the damage from murmuring isn't as easy as spreading it. Slander, defamation, and murmuring are like those feathers scattered by the wind. In Opus Dei, as in any other institution, these practices wreak havoc on people's lives, destroying reputations in the process.
El Papa dice que la calumnia, la difamación y la murmuración dañan especialmente a nuestra propia alma y a la institución.
The Pope says that slander, defamation, and murmuring especially harm our own soul and the institution. But what really struck me the most is that every offense committed against justice and truth. That is, this is what we are talking about, it involves a duty of reparation. Even if their offense has been forgiven, or in other words, if someone defamed me badly and well, it was worthy and asked me for forgiveness, well, it won't be enough, and reparation is needed. And when it's impossible to repair the damage publicly, it must be done in secret. If the person who has suffered harm cannot be compensated directly, the Catechism says, morally satisfaction demands the name of the quality and obliges in conscience. In other words, it couldn't be clearer, all the things that have been said. Remember the comment that had been making about Cecilila, that she had gotten into a marriage. What had been done with Guillermo, what the regional vicar had done to the 43 women former assistant numeraries and their lawyer. All that is terrible, it is a grave offense, because it means saying things that are not true about people, it was damaged their reputation, their life, and that remains unrepaired. If it is a very serious fault, a moral fault. Yeah, I am not going to talk about morals, because it is not the space and I am not the representative to judge. But what I'm telling you is, gentlemen of the work, return to read the Catechism. Please, now a little examination of conscience and look at your actions, your deeds, and act on consequences. What needs to be repaired, needs to be repaired. You can't just say we ask for an apology so generic. Let's ask for specific apologies with men, with surnames for each of the people, and let's repeat that coming. Here we have deprived people, there is no right to do this kind of things, not right at all.